I like to start standing because it's a nice way to activate the body. And we'll start by bringing our feet hip width apart, taking a moment to look forward, and then slowly closing our eyes. Tune in to your breath and how you're feeling today. Today we'll do a practice where we again notice our tensions, where we tend to hold things in our body. So these things can be our muscles, our joints, thoughts. Let us just practice together and be here right now. We can start putting the attention with our feet, starting from the bottom, moving upwards. And giving our feet the attention they usually don't get. Move them slightly, noticing how your ankle joints are doing. If you're holding more tension on your right side or on your left side, on the front or on the back, try to find a way to release some of that tension. By breathing into it, or just by simply noticing. From there, we'll move up through our calves and our shins, everything in between to our knees. Notice how there are a lot of minor movements present as a way of keeping balance and adjusting to the situation. See if you're locking your knees, or if you're bending them maybe slightly more than you wish you would. And find the ideal position to hold them in and move around in. Continuing upwards, we enter the space of our hips, of our hip joints, hip flexors. Another area where tension can grow and it can also be released. Again, focus your positioning of your hip. Are you placing your hips more towards the back, to the front, or to the sides? Experiment with it. Go to the extreme to feel how it makes your body feel and how it makes the position of your body feel. Here we can notice how our hip joints have a major influence on our posture. I like to see them as the connection point between the upper part of our body and the lower part of our body. Moving upwards, we reach our chest and our shoulders and our backs. And with this also the positioning of our neck on our body. If you feel something arising in your body parts, just let it be. It'll sort itself out. And then slowly we come to our face. You can notice our jaws. Are we holding our jaws? Our eyes. Backs of our heads. And with this feeling today of centering our feet and rooting our feet into the floor, yet pulling the crown of our head upwards, out of the floor, having a counter direction, we'll continue the class today. And notice where we tend to hold tension and how we can release this tension through breathing or through simply noticing. Slowly we can open our eyes. And again, just take a moment to let the visual field come in. And then we can just change position simply by stepping a little bit, walking around, just looking around. And then we'll come back to our mats and we'll start doing some joint rotations. If you feel the need to do something good for your body, then feel free to. We'll start by just awakening our body in a more physical way. And we'll start doing some rotations with our right foot. Just noticing one part of the body in isolation. Feeling if we have some cracks here or there. Kind of massaging our body. Then we can go to the other side. Then we can change and go to our left foot. Feeling the difference, if there's a difference. You can also play with really adding muscle tension to your calf and seeing what that does, making it slightly harder to rotate. Switch to the other side. Or can use no muscle tension at all and see how that feels. From there, we will place our feet close together. And we'll put our hands by our knees, placing all of our attention on our knee area and our hips. And we'll do very minor circular rotations that slightly go past our feet. By doing this, we practice new pathways. Pathways that maybe our body isn't as used to going towards, and strengthening these pathways. And then we'll go to the other side, hugging our knees and our legs closely together, like a big hug, so that we strengthen the whole inner side of our body. From there, come up, we'll bring our feet a bit further apart, because it's nice also to take bigger positions, and we'll place our hands on our hips, and then we'll just enter some hip rotations, just making big circles or smaller circles depending on how you feel today. Here, what you can think about is, for example, the motion of when you're stirring in soup, how the top of your head is your hand and the lower part of your body is the circular motion. So it's not just our hips that are doing the movement, but it's actually a full body movement. And then we can go to the other side. And then from here, after this last one, we'll just come up, stand up. And we'll do some shoulder rotations, just continuing the motion. And checking in with ourselves. Switching sides, go from back to front, and letting it ripple through our upper body. And then from here, we take our arms together up, and then we'll just rotate our hands. We can look at them as well, and notice how much possibility there lies within the hand rotation. Switch to the other side. Relaxing our shoulder blades, not holding them, letting them sink to the floor. And then we'll slowly bring them down, finishing off with our heads. Just bringing circles in our heads, thinking again that we're drawing a circle with our head, and bringing extra focus to when we bring our heads to the back. Switching to the other side. Feel the direction in which you're bringing your head, the crown of your head. And how by doing this simple motion, you involve much more in your body. And then we can just pause with our heads facing down to the floor, looking at the floor, and then just letting our necks release down. And slowly, we'll just roll down all the way to the floor with our spines very slowly, feeling how our spine is rolling down, and how the lower we get to our spine, the harder it is to roll down until we reach the floor or we reach our feet or our shins, depending on what is possible for you in your body. Here we take a moment to just relax. We can bend our knees slightly. Feeling the resonance in our body. And then slowly we push through the floor, activate our legs and our core, and we slowly roll up again. Rolling up through the spine, making it hollow. Trying to ripple each vertebrae. Until we stand back up again. From here, we will continue this vertebrae motion. I'll stand like this so you can see me better. And this time we'll place our hands in our hips and we'll do some spinal waves. So we'll start again from the bases of our feet and we'll bend our knees, bring our pelvis forward, and then slowly making minor ripples, minor waves. For the knees, the hips, the shoulders, the head. Knees, hips, shoulders, head. There's no right or wrong in the spinal wave. You can play with it in whatever way you want. It's more about noticing where in this wave you maybe cut off the motion. And then we'll do the opposite. So we start from our head, moving backwards, to our shoulders, moving backwards, to our hips, moving backwards, to our knees bending. From our heads, to our shoulders, to our hips, to our knees. And then we can also slightly speed this up. We finish up our last one. And then we come to standing again, staying with our hands by our hips. We will do sideways spinal waves, so going into lateral position. We'll start again with our head, and then looking forward, we can just think about an animal, for example. So about the movement of a snake and how connecting this movement to an animal can naturally help you find the right movement. Moving from side to side. One knee bending, the other knee stretching. And then going the opposite direction, so starting with our legs, and letting our legs ripple, and then our head follows. This may feel slightly strange in the beginning. But just take the time to explore this movement. And then from here, we slowly come out of it. And we can just take a quick drink of water or walk around. Once we're all back, I'll wait still 1 more minute. We'll finish up our standing practice, and then we'll do a brief practice on the floor. I would like us to take our sock. We are going to continue with our sock. The nice thing that I like about the sock is that it helps, at least for me, to bring awareness to my foot and how I hold my foot. So again, we will start by taking our left foot this time. Instead of starting with our right, we'll take our left foot and we'll just grab the sock with our foot. And then what we'll do is we can just play with pulling it off the floor and dropping it, just noticing, okay, what does it do to my foot? And then from there, once we have an idea, we can lift it off the floor, holding it in the air, and then we will just hold it in different positions. And it's really about not having to hold the form. So it's about exploring, okay, I can bring it to the side of my body, I can bring it to the other side, I can bring it to the back. And this is a balance exercise. Just playing around with the possibilities of your body and also using your arms for balance. So if you lose balance, just pull to the opposite direction as a way to continue holding your balance. We can all try going to the back space of our body, the space which is often less discovered, less explored. And we'll try not to see our foot, but we'll just try to feel what this back side makes us do or feel. You can work with externally rotating your leg or internally rotating your leg and maintaining an upright posture, so not slouching, but pushing through the floor and pulling up out of the floor. And then we'll come and place it on the floor, our sock ball, and then we'll just try it on our other foot. Again, exploring how our right foot is somewhat different from our left foot. If it needs extra attention or not. You can play also with the speed of your foot or of your leg. It's like a balancing act that we're doing here. Then again, after we explored, we'll come back and place it on the floor in front of us, and we'll release. We can just shake out our legs. Any tension that might have built up in good or maybe in less good ways. And then together, we can just come to the floor. And we can sit on our front legs or like this, depending on what you feel comfortable with. And then we'll bring our hands out in front of us. And we'll first just feel sensation and bring our shoulder blades from front to back, bringing them as furthest front we can, or to the most back, seeing how that feels. And then we'll come onto all fours. And we will try this on all fours. So letting our shoulders come up as much as they can. Maybe bringing our backs together with our shoulders up. Or letting us sink to the floor and our shoulders sink. It's important here to keep looking to the floor and maintain a posture where we pull our heads away from our feet and opposite. So we can come up and then we can release down. We can do this together with our breath. Breathing up, breathing in, we come up. Breathing out, we can go down. Pushing the fronts of our hands into the floor. Then we can come to child's pose for a short while, just releasing everything. And then we come back up again to all fours. And we will move our hands. So we will place them in different positions. So, for example, you can keep them in front of you, or you can place your hands to the side, basically walking your hands around and putting the attention on your wrists. And just noticing how putting your wrists in different positions makes the whole position in general change. It makes you position your shoulders. Then we'll bring our hands facing forward and we'll just come up onto our fingers. Take a moment here to feel the difference and press your fingertips together to the center of your hand. And then we'll release. And then we'll bring our fingertips again onto the floor. Strengthening your hands. And then again, we'll release them to the floor. And then one more thing we will do is we'll bring our wrists up, leaving our fingers on the floor, and then we'll slowly bring our wrists down. And we'll repeat this several times. So we bring our wrists up, and then slowly we bring our wrists down. We bring our wrists up, holding, and slowly bring our wrists down. And then you can find this in your own tempo. And then just stay on all fours, and then again, come into a short child's pose. Coming out of child's pose, we will do some planks in a variation, and we'll do a series of planks of 20 seconds, holding, and then 20 seconds rest. I encourage you to listen to your body, and this would be a repetition of 8 times. So if it's just too much load for your body today, or If you need a break, a longer break, you can always take 40 seconds break. I will always be timing it, so you can just follow along with me. I will show the position first. So the position starts in Sphinx pose, where we have our arms bent on the floor, slightly further away, almost following our mats. And then we have our legs straight to the back and our heads forward. From here, we will push through our hands and our arms, through our core. We push up into a position where our knees are on the floor and our arms are half bent. And this is the position we will hold for 20 seconds. And then we will roll down to the floor. And then during the break, you can move around or you can stay in your position. And then we do that in a sequence of 8 times. So I will be timing it to the best of my abilities. It's always a bit confusing. If we're all there, then I will start. I'll just wait a short while just to make sure. Okay. Important here is to focus on bringing all of your body parts to your center in the moment when it gets hard, and to push away from your center at the same time. So to think again of this inner contraction, yet an outer contraction. Okay, we start in 3, 2, 1. Bringing our centers up. We push in the floor, pushing our knees and our feet away, our heads away, making sure that our hips don't come up too much. We slowly release. And then we take short 20 seconds here to just release. And then we slowly come up again, second time, pulling everything away. When I say everything, I mean our heads, our feet, our hands. Think like you're pulling your body to 2 parts of the walls. Slowly releasing. Move around. Giving some space to your elbows or to your shoulders, whatever you need. And then entering the position again. Slowly coming up. The more difficult it may become, the better it is to focus on your core and bringing everything to the center, lowering your hips, and emphasizing the point that is hard. Slowly releasing down. And feeling the effects it has on your body or not. And then we slowly go up again. Noticing how the repetition of a simple movement changes over time. And then we slowly come down again. If you have tension anywhere, just place your attention on that specific point. We come up again together. We're over halfway. Just feel all these little micro movements happening and little adjustments. And keep reinforcing it. Keep pulling in towards your center, your hands through the floor, your feet away from your head. And then we slowly come down to the floor. 2 more times. And then we slowly come up. We can try to hug our legs together and see how that feels, or push them away. If you're shaking, continue to shake and just embrace it. Slowly come down. And then we finish off with our last round, finally. And we slowly come up again, pulling again, our shoulders up and out, our hips remain low, our center maybe slightly shaking, our heads pulling away, looking to the floor, giving our neck space, pulling our feet away and our hands to the other direction. We can slowly come down, and we can just rest on our hands and enjoy the sensation and the after shake. Feel free to try this at home again. It's a very nice and simple way to build strength. Then from this position that we're laying in, what we'll do is we'll bring our heads to the palms or the upper palms of our hands. We'll bring our feet together. And then we'll place the balls of our feet on the floor, flexing our feet. And we'll bring our legs together, hugging each other. Then from here, we'll take both of our arms and we'll place them up against our legs. And then we'll open our arms. So we'll open our hands away from our legs, creating some space in our shoulder blades, while activating our legs, so our legs are hugging each other as much as they can. We have our head slightly off the ground, not much. In this position, with each inhalation, we try to slightly come up, pulling our hands away from our heads, bringing our feet, our legs together, hugging them together. And then again, we bring our hands back to front and we relax shortly. Releasing our legs. And then we do this one more time. So we flex our feet on the floor, we hug our legs, we bring both of our hands back to the back sides of our legs. We open our arms, our hands to the other direction. And we feel almost like we're Superman on a yoga mat. hugging our core together, pulling our arms away from our heads and our legs to each other. From here, we bring our arms straight out in front of us, and we bring our fingertips together on the floor, kind of like spiders. Our arms are straight out in front of us, our legs are still hugging together, and we look to the floor. And here we think of being a big rope, and we're being pulled out from two directions. And here, with each inhalation, we let ourselves slightly come up off the floor, not much. Last inhalation, we come up one more time. And then we relax onto the floor. We can just rotate our legs in and out, taking them out. And we can roll on our backs. And then we can shake our legs on our backside, so laying on our backs. And then we'll bring our legs closer to our hips. And what we'll do is we'll just let our legs drop to one side. And look to the other side, giving a nice stretch. Our arms are actively still pulling away from each other, especially away from our legs. We're looking to the other direction. And then we slowly come up and we switch to the other side. Again, pulling into the opposite direction, feeling the spinal twist. And then from here, we come again to center. We slowly come up by rolling onto our sides and pushing ourselves up. And then together, you can come into a last squatting position. And squatting position, you can just simply place yourself in a squat. If you need extra protection to elevate yourself and to give yourself more comfort, you can place, for example, your socks or your shoes, or you can roll up your mat and place it underneath your heels, or even if you have a bolster, you can place the bolster underneath your hips, giving you some more comfort to sit on. And then together we'll just finish my practice in the well-known squat that I like to incorporate. Here we can just feel, again, how our hips are doing. We can check out with our feet, our knees, our backs. A squat is really an incredible position, actually, because it's very much mobilizing all of these parts of your body at once together. And a way to give more space to your hips is by slightly making this motion of pushing out and then bringing back in again. And pushing out and bringing back in again. And just playing a bit with this motion, pushing out and bringing back in. And then there's multiple ways to come out of the squat. We can come out of the squat by just plopping down on the floor, or by coming out on the front side, on the side. And then that was my practice, my shorter practice for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed with me, and I hope that you can also incorporate some of these elements into your own life. For example, squat, that you can work by your computer during, you can work on your computer while you're squatting, or doing small intervals of these exercises or practices, because it's a good way to incorporate it in your daily life also, to have like micro moments of just getting out and just doing a small practice. So we'll be switching over to TPM. Thank you guys, and I see you later still. I'll still be around. Yeah, slowly you can come out of Shavasana. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. It was the first time for us to do a combination of the two, so it's kind of a tryout, but it went well, I think. So thanks, guys.